Happy Victory Monday, Miami Dolphins fans. Welcome to Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Nic Rohloff. We're going to break down the latest surrounding the Dolphins after the NFL Week 16 win against the San Francisco 49ers, where Miami was able to keep their season alive. But before we get into that, let me know, are you pumped up about the win on Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers? If you are, hit that thumbs up icon. Dolphins playoff hopes stay alive. Thin and slim, but they're still there. If you're fired up, hit that like button. All right, the number one Dolphins rumor after the win is that, well, Mike McDaniel is probably not going to go anywhere after the season. A lot of people out there, including myself, have pondered the idea of firing Mike McDaniel. But when you see the owner, Stephen Ross, celebrating like this on Devon Achane's touchdown and ultimately the Dolphins' 7th win of the season, as they do have a 7-8 record, it's hard to imagine him firing the head coach. And then you get to the locker room and Stephen Ross, the owner, gives Mike McDaniel the game ball for the win against the 49ers. Adam says it perfectly here. The series of events of Stephen Ross to Mike McDaniel after the game should tell you everything that you need to know about Mike McDaniel's job security. There is absolutely no way that Mike McDaniel gets fired after this season. You saw him get a contract extension before the year, 2 winning records, 2 postseason appearances. Dolphins still on the hunt with 2 weeks to go. It looks like Stephen Ross isn't going to make major changes. Listen, I don't agree with it. I think Mike McDaniel should absolutely be on the hot seat. Now, should he be fired? I have said yes, but I could understand bringing him back. But it seems like McDaniel has a very, very good, secure job at this point, and maybe even Chris Greer as well, which I don't think should be the case, even though they just beat the 49ers. Like, the issues remain about building a winning culture and locker room in tough conditions, building a more physical football team. Hey, I don't agree with it, but it looks like Stephen Ross is going to keep everything status quo. What's the old saying? Don't rock the boat. Yeah, that's what Stephen Ross is going to say. Now, with Mike McDaniel, I do want to acknowledge that I think yesterday's game plan, when you come to the Miami Dolphins offense, was much better. And it might have been one of the best game plans that he has cooked up all season long. And even though the 49ers are struggling and they shot themselves in the foot quite a bit, it is one of the rare times that we've seen Mike McDaniel out-coach an opposing coach that I don't think anyone can dispute is better than him. Kyle Shanahan is a better coach than Mike McDaniel. The 49ers on paper, even though they had a lot of injuries, Miami has a lot of injuries. I think they were a better team on paper, and it's why the 49ers were actually favored by 2 points in Miami. But the Dolphins were able to get a 12-point victory and got the win despite having to settle for a million field goals. And when you think of the play designs and the play kind of differences here, you see a much balanced offensive attack. 56.2% of the plays were pass plays. 43.8% were rush plays. Those are very good. And the screen numbers were down as well. Only 17.1% of the plays, 11 in total out of the 64 offensive plays that the Dolphins ran. I think that the game plan offensively was significantly better than what it has been for the Miami Dolphins, and I think it's the reason why, even though it was a garbage time touchdown to seal the game, if you will, that the Dolphins offense put up 29 points, one of the better performances over the past month, but also was able to move the football consistently, getting in scoring range. Be honest, did your opinion change on Mike McDaniel after the win against San Francisco on Sunday? Type Y for yes or type N for no. It's the pinned comment, so if you get hit with a YouTube ad break, scroll down, let it play, and answer today's question. I don't really think it did. Listen, it was a good win against San Francisco, now 7-8, still have a chance to make the postseason, although you need a lot of help. I just don't think a win against a 6-8 Niners team that has been really struggling this season is enough to make you feel different about McDaniel. Was he finally performing good and against a good team, at least a team on the same level as you? Yes, it was. But once again, it's in Miami. It's in a warm environment. Until he goes on the road and beats a good football team, I just don't simply believe Miami's going to do it. And it's going to be hard for me to pick them to win those type of games going in the future as long as Mike McDaniel's head coach. I need to see it happen before I can pick them to do it going forward. Dolphins rumor number 2, Isaiah Wynn needs to start more often for the Miami Dolphins. This one is without a question has to happen. This is not a rumor. This is ultimately going to become a fact because when you looked at the snap counts between the Miami Dolphins right guards yesterday, it looked like this. Isaiah Wynn started the game. He played 34 snaps. Liam Eichenberg, who has been the starting right guard for the entire season, he played 33 snaps. So they kind of split the two up in terms of the right guard. You saw Robert Jones play all 67 snaps at left guard. Aaron Brewer, Kendall Lamb, Teron Armstead all played 67 snaps at their respective positions. But you saw a true split between these two guys. And when you break down of which ones was better and which one was more deserving of more playing time, I thought it was Isaiah Wynn. Like, listen, the PFF grades were pretty similar, if we're going to be honest. But on the eye test, I thought Isaiah Wynn was better. And when you look at the PFF grades, they won't be much different. But I just think if you use your eyes and use the eye test more, Wynn was more physical. He was better in the run blocking department, which has been a major issue for the Miami Dolphins. To me, I believe Wynn should be the starting right guard for the Miami Dolphins in the final 2 games of the season. And if he performs well there even is a chance to me where I would be intrigued bringing him back on a cheap 1-year contract to be a left guard or right guard competitor to be the starter next season if he plays well over the final 2 weeks, because you saw him play well against the San Francisco 49ers. And coming up in just a second, we are going to have another pretty telling stat on the Isaiah Wynn versus Liam Eichenberg debate, only boosting Isaiah Wynn's potential to be the starter. But we do got to tell you about today's presenting sponsor, and that is DraftKings. It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. And here's a gift for all new customers. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HEATCHAT. That's code HEATCHAT for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. And you got to make some plays for Christmas Day football. 2 games, and I'm on both games. I got Steelers money line plus 120 at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Dolphins need the Steelers to win this game. We'll explain why later on in the week. But I'm also going to take the over 46.5 in the Houston-Baltimore game. Listen, lines and odds subject to change, but these are my 2 plays for Christmas Day football. Remember, bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets if you win when you download DraftKings Crane account and use promo code HEATCHAT. Shout out to DraftKings for sponsoring today's show. All right, let's get to this compelling stat kind of showcased by Kyle Krabs, who does an excellent job covering the Dolphins. So if you haven't already, follow him on Twitter and his social medias. But the Dolphins averaged 4.8 yards per carry and 2.2 yards per before contact in their 15 rush attempts with Liam Eichenberg at right tackle. That number ballooned to the average of 6.3 yards per carry and 4.8 yards per contact with Isaiah Wynn as the right guard for the Miami Dolphins in the other 15 rushing attempts. So just based on the rushing game alone, it seems pretty clear that Isaiah Wynn had a larger impact on this Dolphins run game than Liam Eichenberg, which should surprise absolutely nobody. And it's not all black and white. Some of those carries might have went to the left side, and it is more dependent on how Armstead and Robert Jones and the tight ends and Alec Ingold blocked on that play rather than the right guard, but it is just intriguing to note. And then when you look at the rushing direction of the Miami Dolphins in this game against San Francisco, you'll notice quite a trend here. Going to the left side, they were solid between Armstead and Jones. They were decent up the middle. But then on the right side, they blossomed. Isaiah Wynn, 2 carries, 53 yards when you ran behind him at right guard. At right tackle, 1 carry, 7 yards. They ran a lot to the outside of Kendall Lamb on the right side, but not very much in between him and Isaiah Wynn. Now, these numbers are inflated because, well, 2 carries, 53 yards means that one run kind of changed the entire structure of these numbers, and you might be able to guess which one it was. But it is important to note that Isaiah Wynn was on the field at right guard when De'Von Achane had the silencer, the dagger, the 50-yard rushing touchdown to put Miami up 29-17 after they were only up 22-17 with 1:40 to go. So Isaiah Wynn helped spree Achane on that pitch to the right side where he went right between Wynn and Lamb, was able to cut to the outside and then win the foot race to the end zone. I mean, it was an impressive blocking display from Lamb and Wynn on the right side, and I hope to see that combination over the final 2 weeks of the season as well. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We crossed 66,000 subscribers on last week's watch party. We appreciate all the new subscribers. We will not let you down. Daily Miami Dolphins content every single day. We are also breaking down the latest surrounding the injury news, and we'll be live on Tuesday and Sunday for Browns, Dolphins Week 17, but also breaking down the news and rumors of this team. All right, final rumor to talk about on today's show. Jevon Holland and Jordan Poyer, they have to go this offseason. And we said this last week, and I'm just going to continue to pound my fist on the table, pound my head into the wall until this eventually comes to fruition, hopefully in the offseason. These two cannot be back at the safety position for this Dolphins defense next season. And although Jevon Holland was graded out relatively high for this Dolphins defense against San Francisco, I don't think he played well. I don't think Jordan Poyer played well. They both missed tackles. We'll talk about one in particular. They were better in coverage than what they have been lately, only allowing 4 total receptions and 30 yards between the two. But the reason why I have such a hard time defending these two and wanting these guys to be the safety tandem for the Miami Dolphins is that the fact that they are just Charmin ultra soft and they simply refuse to tackle, and if they are not refusing to tackle, they are just horrible at tackling. They have to be the worst tackling duo in the entire NFL at the safety position. And I want to showcase one particular play, and that was the Deebo Samuel touchdown in the first half. Jalen Ramsey presses up on Deebo on the slot. Deebo beats him inside on a slant. Good route by Samuel. Brock Purdy hits him in motion. He's going to pick up the first down. But look at this. At the point of contact, Deebo Samuel is at the 8-yard line of Miami. Ramsey is trailing. Jordan Poyer is the first to hit him. And then Jevon Holland is coming over to help just in case. Well, what happens? The Jordan Poyer whiffs on the tackle. Deebo Samuel runs him over. So then you get Jevon Holland, Jalen Ramsey helping. You see Jordan Poyer on the ground. Jevon Holland coming over from that side after Deebo gets a couple yards after contact where Poyer's on the ground at the now 6-yard line. Ramsey's on the deck because he couldn't bring him down from behind. And then Jevon Holland's coming to help out after Poyer's grabbing ankles and missed the first tackle. Well, what happened on this play? Well, somehow Deebo Samuel is in the end zone. So he started getting contacted at the 8-yard line. And you have 3 defenders, Ramsey, Holland, Poyer. Poyer misses. Then we have new contact at the 6 or 5-yard line with Jevon Holland with Poyer still grabbing ankles. And then Deebo Samuel ultimately gets into the end zone for a touchdown. That just is unacceptable. That simply can't happen. And I know it might ultimately mean nothing because the Dolphins won the game and they still might miss the playoffs. But just to establish a winning culture, a better system in physical defense in the locker room that doesn't miss 20 tackles and allow your opponent to have an extra 180 yards like what happened on Thanksgiving against the Green Bay Packers. You have to be able to wrap up and make those tackles now so you can show it to your defense in the offseason and make sure those soft plays don't happen in the future. Those type of missed tackles and allowing the person to go after contact into the end zone is unexcusable, cannot happen, and it's the reason why I don't want these two back. Holland's regressed every single year of his career after his rookie season. He's become a poor tackler. Poyer's washed. I think the Dolphins need to overhaul the safety room. You have Patrick Morris entering his second year next year. Probably have him as your third safety potentially. Maybe sign a cheap one in the free agent pool or draft one relatively high. If the Dolphins are able to draft, oh my God, I'm spacing. Oh my God, it's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to think about this all day and be upset. The Georgia safety. I'm just absolutely spacing. Oh my God, that's going to drive me nuts. Malachi Starks. Okay, thank you for watching me struggle there. Malachi Starks. I would love him in the first round if there was no talented offensive guard available. Maybe that's something that happens, but I can't have Jevon Holland and Jordan Poyer back next year. Can't do it. All right, make sure you do subscribe. That will do it for today's show. We are going to be dropping daily content throughout this holiday week, live tomorrow as well, live on Sunday for Dolphins Browns. So make sure you tune in for all of our coverage.